Hi, welcome to Sonia's Healthy Corner. So today I am going to be talking about portion distortion. What you eat is super important. How much you eat is very important. Let's start with MyPlate. I've mentioned this before. This is a great tool while you get used to kind of visualizing what you're supposed to be eating as far as food groups and as far as portions. You can find this in myplate.gov, but I just have one for reference. First of all, this is the right size of plate, not that huge plate that they see at restaurants that look like, they're going to feed 5 people. And by the way, we end up finishing the whole thing just because we can. But this should be the daily size plate for each meal. Okay, half of the plate should be filled with fruits and vegetables, a quarter of a plate with lean meats and protein. And if you have plant-based protein, that's fine too. And a quarter of the plate is with whole grain. So let's dive into it. But before I do that, just as a reminder, just because it's important, fruits and vegetables, all you can eat, okay? Tomatoes, kiwis, vitamin C, lycopene, oranges, broccoli. I don't know anybody that got sick from eating a lot of broccoli. If anything, it's a good cleanse for you. Spinach, whether you like it raw or you like it sauteed, any green. 2.5 cups. This is a cup. This is 1 cup. This is a half. 2.5 cups of vegetables per day. 2 cups of fruits per day. Daily recommended amounts. I'm going to talk about the macronutrients. Proteins, fats, healthy fats, of course, and carbohydrates. Those are the macronutrients for our body. I've said it before, our body is like a car. We need fuel, we need oil, and we need water to run, amongst other things, right? Well, it's the same thing with our bodies, guys. Start with proteins. What do we do with proteins? A lot of us don't want to spend the time or don't have the time. And I don't have a lot of patience. I'm super practical. Counting grams, ounces, figuring it out. If I'm out and about, I don't bring the scale with me to kind of have an idea of what I'm supposed to be eating. So I'm going to give you visuals today. If you're going to eat protein, these are the portions you should be eating. This size of chicken, which is 3 ounces, chicken breast. Check that portion. It's like the palm of my hand. A sandwich, a chicken sandwich, has probably 2 or 3 of this. So just be mindful of what you're putting in your body. White fish, or any fish fillet except salmon. This is the size of a fillet. This is what you should be eating. What about salmon? I love salmon, and I love to cook salmon. But sometimes the fillets are so big. So 3 ounces of salmon is this portion. It really is, again, like the size of my palm. What about meat? Okay, if you're eating meat, red meat, roast beef, carne asada, whatever it is, this is the size of the portion. This is the portion you should be eating. Again, look at the size of my hands. If you eat carne asada, tacos, burritos, or whatever you eat, typically you don't eat this. You eat double or triple the size. Going back to my plate. This fits right there, a quarter of the plate. So what about carbs? Carbs are good for you. It depends on what kind of carbs. Obviously, we're talking about complex carbs. We're not talking about simple sugars or simple added sugars. We are talking about carbs that are in the natural form, like comes from fruits and vegetables, but also some of the starches or carbs that you can find on just regular food. We're talking about rice and beans, like legumes, sweet potatoes, the portions, the fabulous portions. If you eat rice or any grain for that matter, stick with whole grain, stick with whole rice instead of white rice. This is the portion you should be eating. Rice, beans, mashed beans, or people say refried beans, but I would steer away from refried beans because I don't want them refried, meaning fried and double fried. Typically, you can find the ones that are non-fat, meaning they're just mashed beans. Baked beans, also obviously it's not just pinto beans, but garbanzo beans, kidney beans, black beans, fava beans. They fit in a quarter of your fabulous plate. What about potatoes? Okay, well, potatoes can be prepared in many, many, many forms. And I'm not talking about potato chips here or French fries. Mashed potatoes, baked potatoes. Baked potatoes are good for you. They're good starch. What would be the portion? The appropriate portion would be something like this, which is like the palm of my hand. See, it's not that difficult. Because when you go out and you go and buy those huge potatoes, I mean, it's amazing, right? Because they look so beautiful. That doesn't mean you have to eat the whole thing. Maybe you eat half of it. Just make it like this size portion. Again, quarter of our plate. That's a perfect reference right there. Super easy. Let's not forget about our lovely fats. Our body needs fat. Fat is protecting of our cells, but we need the good, healthy fats, the right fats, not the unhealthy fats. We're talking about omega-3s in foods like salmon, avocado, olive oil, some of the nuts. Okay, so avocado. I love avocado. I could eat avocado all day long. Here's the catch. Avocado has a lot of calories. So when you eat avocado, this is what you're supposed to be eating. A quarter of an avocado. That's it. What about peanuts? Peanuts, okay, well, roasted, salted, that makes a difference, right? We're talking about simple peanuts, not processed, in a shell. We're talking about no more than 10. Cheese. I love cheese. Who doesn't like cheese? Cheese and crackers? Cheeseburger? Cheese nachos? Cheese quesadilla? Cheese everything. Okay, cheese. This is 1 ounce or 30 grams of cheese. You shouldn't be eating more than this. I know it's difficult, especially when it's melted. Like if you started melting it on your cheeseburger or plant-based burger or whatever, it's hard to see how much cheese you're eating. But this is what you should stick to. Again, look at the size. Look at the portions. Portion distortion is challenging, but it's not impossible. Keep this visual in your head. Half of your plate, fruits and vegetables, a quarter of your plate, grains, and a quarter of your plate, lean protein or plant-based protein. From my corner to your corner, stay healthy and happy.